Welcome to the path to Buddhist wisdom, where we explore profound lessons about life, the universe, and the zodiac. Today, we delve into why Geminis are a force you should never cross, not just because of their dual nature, but because karma keeps a close watch on those who harm them. Stick with us until the end because, trust me, reason number 2 will leave you speechless. But first, let's explore the mysteries of the Gemini sign and the powerful force of karma that follows those who hurt them. The mysterious duality of Gemini. Gemini is often seen as a sign of duality, but they are far more complex than just two opposing sides. They are a storm disguised as a breeze. Their ability to adapt and shift gears can often leave others in awe. But when they're hurt, their reaction is not always immediate. They wait, they observe, and most importantly, they remember. Reason 20, Geminis remember what matters. They may seem like they forget the little things. But don't be fooled. A Gemini's mind is sharp. When you hurt them, they might not confront you right away. But trust me, they'll remember. 2 years later, something you said in passing could resurface. This is because they remember patterns, energy, and intentions, not just words. And karma? Karma watches closely when a Gemini is wronged. Geminis have a unique way of storing memories. It's not emotional, but strategic. They remember the things that matter, even if it appears they've let it go. They understand the significance of words, actions, and energy. And when betrayal happens, they won't forget. Their mind works like a hidden file system, constantly analyzing past interactions, building patterns of behavior. If you've hurt them, you may think they've moved on. But one day, years from now, you might find yourself face to face with a memory you thought was long buried. And when it resurfaces, it can feel like a shock. Because a Gemini's memory doesn't just hold details, it holds power. And that power, karma ensures it never goes unnoticed. Reason 19, Geminis analyze in silence. A Gemini's silence is never to be mistaken for indifference. They are constantly analyzing, absorbing, and processing the world around them. When they choose not to confront you immediately, it's not because they don't care, it's because they know the universe will take care of the rest. Their intelligence and emotional depth make them favorites of karma. So, when they stay quiet, brace yourself, karma doesn't miss a thing. When a Gemini is hurt, they don't immediately react. Instead, they let their mind process everything in silence. They're assessing, calculating, and determining their next move. But the key here is that they never forget. They don't need to lash out to prove their point, they simply observe and let time do the work. The universe often aligns to balance the energy, ensuring that those who hurt a Gemini feel the weight of their actions. The next time a Gemini chooses silence over confrontation, take it as a warning. They're not weak, they're wise. And karma always steps in when wisdom is involved. Reason 18, Geminis will make you think everything is fine while writing a viral thread about you. Geminis are masters of duality. They can be smiling at you, making you think everything is okay, while secretly crafting the perfect words to expose the truth you tried to hide. They don't need to confront you face to face to make their point, they have a keyboard. And that's all they need. Geminis are brilliant at storytelling. And when they're hurt, they often turn their pain into expression. They don't need to seek revenge or confrontation, they just need to share their side of the story. And when they do, it's not just a simple complaint, it's a work of art. Their ability to craft words and turn pain into expression is unmatched. It's their way of processing the hurt without creating chaos. But don't think for a second that the universe doesn't notice. Karma loves poetic justice. And when a Gemini takes their pain and turns it into a story, the universe listens. It amplifies their message. And it ensures the energy flows back to where it belongs. Reason 17, Geminis are friendly. But don't confuse friendliness with forgiveness. Geminis are some of the most charming, open, and social people you'll ever meet. They'll make you feel welcome, seen, and understood. But don't take that light energy as a sign that you've been forgiven. If you hurt a Gemini and they're still being nice to you, don't be fooled. It's not because they've forgotten. It's because they've already emotionally distanced themselves from you. Their friendly smile is not an invitation to get close again. It's a boundary. Geminis have mastered the art of protecting their peace. And when you hurt them, they may continue to be polite, but deep inside, they've already moved on. They know how to keep it classy, to keep moving forward. But that doesn't mean the hurt hasn't settled in their soul. Karma respects those who protect their peace without resorting to retaliation. And when a Gemini decides someone is no longer safe for their heart, they don't chase revenge, they simply elevate. And the universe takes care of the rest. That's why hurting a Gemini never goes unnoticed. Their forgiveness may never come, but karma won't wait. Reason 16, Geminis know how to use words and can destroy you with a single sentence. Never underestimate the power of a Gemini's tongue. Words are their natural weapon. When you hurt them, they don't lash out immediately. They take their time. But when the moment comes, they can drop one sentence that hits harder than 1,000 arguments. A single sentence that will echo in your mind long after they've walked away. Geminis don't need to raise their voices to make an impact. Their intellect is sharp, and their emotional insight is piercing. When they finally speak about the pain you caused, it won't be messy, it will be precise, controlled, and unforgettable. And that's exactly where karma steps in. The universe respects the power of truth, especially when it's delivered with clarity. Geminis don't need drama, they just need to speak the facts. And when they do, karma often uses their words as instruments of justice. That's why hurting a Gemini is dangerous, not because they'll scream, but because when they finally speak, the truth will be undeniable, and you'll feel every syllable. Reason 15, they'll ignore you so elegantly you'll question if you ever existed. There's something terrifying about the way a Gemini can vanish emotionally when they feel hurt. They don't always shout or demand closure. Sometimes, they simply fade quietly and gracefully, with no explanation. One moment, you're in their world, and the next, you're not even a footnote in their story. The worst part? They do it with such class that it leaves no room for reaction, no fight, no scene, just silence. And that silence speaks volumes. Karma doesn't always need noise. It works in the quiet, just like Gemini's withdrawal. When someone gives their light and you take it for granted, karma notices. If you hurt a Gemini and they cut you off without a word, don't expect a second chance. Don't expect closure. You've already received your sentence, erased from their presence. And once they're done, the universe will make sure you feel what it's like to be forgotten by someone unforgettable. That's why hurting a Gemini is never just a mistake, it's an invitation for the universe to show you what true absence feels like. Reason 14, they don't need to scream for you to feel their absence. Geminis can disappear from your life without making a scene. Their absence can be felt more deeply than any confrontation. When they decide you no longer deserve their presence, it's not a punishment, it's a boundary. And that silence? It's the universe aligning to protect them. Geminis don't believe in begging for respect or fighting for someone who made them feel small. When they walk away, it's not to prove a point, it's because they've already made up their mind. And when someone like a Gemini decides to disappear from your life, karma backs them up. It listens to the quiet heartbreak, the moments of disappointment they carried silently, and it balances the energy. If you hurt a Gemini and they choose distance over drama, understand that their absence will hit harder than any confrontation. Because their silence is a mirror. It forces you to sit with yourself and feel the emptiness. And karma? It will make sure you feel it too. That's why you should never hurt a Gemini. When they're gone, you'll realize too late that they never needed to raise their voice to be remembered. Reason 13, they can emotionally replace you in 0.5 seconds. Geminis are adaptable by nature. When you hurt them, they don't fall apart. They shift, adjust, and move forward faster than you expect. Emotionally, they're wired for survival. If you break their heart, they'll cry in private. But don't be surprised when the next time you see them, they're laughing like you were never part of their story. This doesn't mean they didn't care. It means they learned not to stay where they're not valued. And karma admires that. The universe always supports those who keep walking without bitterness. But for the one who caused the pain, karma doesn't forget. You'll see them thriving, glowing, surrounded by new energy. And it'll sting. That quick emotional shift, the ability to replace you without warning, will haunt you. You'll realize too late that Geminis don't beg for love. They don't stay broken. They evolve. And while they're outgrowing the pain, karma starts knocking on your door. Because when someone gives you their heart and you treat it carelessly, the universe finds a way to teach you what you lost. That's why hurting a Gemini always comes at a price. Reason 12, they might forgive you, but you'll never return to the same place. Geminis are forgiving. They understand human flaws. They know people make mistakes. But forgiveness doesn't mean restoration. If you hurt them, they might smile and say it's okay. But deep inside, something shifts. And once that shift happens, the relationship changes forever. You won't have the same access, the same warmth, or the same trust. They'll talk to you, maybe even be kind, but the emotional door you once walked through will be closed. And this subtle emotional distance is karma in motion. When you hurt someone who loved you fully, karma watches what you do with that gift. If you break it, karma doesn't rewind the story. It simply rewrites your role in it. Geminis don't scream when they're done. They change your title from important to background noise. That subtle shift is more painful than any confrontation because it forces you to realize, you had a place in their heart. And now, you don't. That's why hurting a Gemini will never go unnoticed by karma. They forgive. But they never forget. Reason 11, they don't play with fire, they are the fire. Geminis have an energy that can light up a room or burn it to the ground. They're passionate, intense, and deeply alive. If you hurt them, you're not just playing with emotions. You're igniting something much bigger. They won't always come after you with revenge. But their transformation will feel like a storm you can't escape. They'll rise, rebuild, and shine so brightly that your shadow will feel even darker. When you disrespect a Gemini, you awaken a force that karma respects deeply. Because fire doesn't chase, it consumes. And when a Gemini channels their pain into growth, the universe amplifies that power. The same person you tried to break will become everything you wish you hadn't lost. They won't come back to prove anything, they'll just become impossible to ignore. And karma loves when the people you hurt end up doing better without you. That's why hurting a Gemini is never just an emotional mistake, it's a cosmic one. Because when you play with a Gemini's heart, you don't just risk losing them. You risk setting your own life on fire. Reason 10, they have 5 personalities ready to react. Dealing with a Gemini means you're never talking to just one version of them. They are complex and multifaceted, every emotion has a face. And every situation pulls out a different side. Some of them love fiercely, others protect that love with fire. When you hurt them, you don't get to choose which version of them responds. You might meet the calm one, the one who walks away with silence. Or you might trigger the one who knows exactly how to make you regret everything. Their personalities aren't fake, they're layers of truth built through experience. And karma respects that depth. Someone who can be soft and sharp at the same time is not to be played with. If you treat them poorly, one of those personalities will handle you. But the universe will handle the rest. Gemini doesn't need revenge when they have range. They'll confuse your expectations and walk away unbothered, leaving karma to clean up behind them. That's why hurting a Gemini is never a smart move. You're not dealing with just one person. You're facing a universe of reactions. And karma's favorite people to protect are those with such depth. Reason 9, they can act smiling through pain like it's a performance. Geminis are masters at hiding what they feel. You might think everything's fine, that they've moved on, that your betrayal didn't cut that deep. But what you don't see is the silent pain behind their smile. They'll show up, laugh, sparkle, and make you believe nothing's wrong. While you're busy being fooled, karma is already preparing your lesson. Because pretending is not denial, it's protection. Gemini knows how to keep their heart guarded until they decide what to do with your actions. They won't beg. They won't crumble in front of you. But they'll remember every wound, every word, every silent cry behind a confident face. The universe remembers too. When you hurt someone who suffers in silence, karma listens louder. That's why you should never hurt a Gemini. Just because they don't show the storm doesn't mean it isn't there. One day, that smile will be gone. And when they walk away, you'll feel every ounce of pain they once hid behind it. That's the day karma arrives, bringing receipts, lessons, and no mercy. Reason 8, they'll read you like an open book, then shut the cover without a word. Geminis have an incredible gift. They observe, they sense, they read people without needing explanations. When someone hurts them, they don't immediately react. Sometimes, they just study you quietly, turning every interaction into a page. And when they've read enough, when they see the patterns, the excuses, the disrespect, they simply close the book. No fight, no speech, no second chances. And that silence? That's where karma begins. Because most people expect drama. They expect to be chased, to be forgiven, to be heard. But Gemini doesn't waste time explaining what you should have already known. They just move on. When they do, the energy shifts. You feel it, the sudden loss of their attention, their curiosity, their warmth. And that's when karma steps in, echoing what Gemini no longer says. Hurting a Gemini is dangerous because they don't just react. They process. They remember. And once they're done reading you, they close that chapter for good. If you ever mattered to them, you'll feel their absence more than you ever felt your presence. That's why it's never wise to hurt someone who understands you better than you understand yourself. Reason 7, they don't seek revenge. They let life do it with an audience. Geminis don't always take justice into their own hands. They believe in letting their universe handle those who wrong them. But here's the twist, life always seems to avenge a Gemini with poetic precision. If you betray them, mock them, or take their heart for granted, they won't lash out. They'll move in silence, let go, and continue living. And then, you'll start noticing the way things fall apart on your end. The opportunities that vanish. The energy that shifts. Gemini doesn't need to curse you, their pain is enough to awaken karma. But what makes it worse? You'll have witnesses. You'll see them rise while your own life feels stuck. People will notice the universe has a funny way of putting the spotlight on those who tried to dim someone else's light. That's why you should never hurt a Gemini. Their revenge isn't loud, it's universal. It's cosmic. And it always arrives right on time, when your guilt is loudest and their glow is brightest. You won't just regret what you did, you'll regret who you did it to, with everyone watching. Reason 6, they're charming until you no longer deserve the charm. A Gemini's charm is magnetic. They're witty, warm, and impossible to ignore. When they love you, they give you their brightest self. They make you feel like the only person in the room. But charm is not unconditional, it's earned. And once you cross a line, once you show them that you don't value what they give, that charm vanishes. Not gradually, instantly. The warmth becomes cold. The sparkle in their eyes fades. And suddenly, the person who made you feel alive looks at you like a stranger. This emotional withdrawal isn't petty. It's sacred. Geminis protect their energy from those who misuse it. And karma does the same. When you lose the charm of a Gemini, you don't just lose a person. You lose a force that made your world better. And the universe notices. Because when someone shines on you, and you throw shade back, karma steps in to balance the light. That's why hurting a Gemini is a spiritual mistake. Their charm isn't a mask, it's a gift. And if you disrespect it, don't be surprised when the universe starts taking blessings away from your life too. Reason 5, they can make you feel like the most special person or completely invisible. A Gemini knows how to make someone feel seen. They'll look at you like you matter. Like your presence lights up the world. When you're with them, you feel chosen, protected, understood. But that's only if they let you in. If you betray the trust or hurt them deeply, the same Gemini who once made you feel extraordinary can make you feel like you don't even exist. They'll walk past you like a stranger, not out of cruelty, but as a form of protection. Because their energy is sacred, and when it's mistreated, they reclaim it completely. Karma doesn't stay silent. It watches how you treated someone who made you feel like everything. And then it shows you what it feels like to be nothing. That's why hurting a Gemini is so dangerous. Their love is magnetic. But their absence is brutal. Once you've experienced both, you'll never forget the contrast. Karma will make sure of it because you didn't just lose their attention, you lost a mirror that made you feel whole. And now, you'll feel the void they leave behind. Reason 4, don't fear their words, fear their silence. Geminis are known for their words. They can charm, cut, and comfort all with a sentence. But when they go silent, that's when you should really start worrying. Silence from a Gemini isn't emptiness, it's full of meaning. It says, I saw everything. I felt everything. And now, I've stopped caring. They won't argue. They won't chase. They'll simply observe, detach, and let karma do the rest. That silence is the moment the emotional door closes. And once it does, there's no knocking loud enough to open it again. When you hurt a Gemini and they go quiet, it means your chapter in their story is ending. And karma reads that silence loud and clear. Because when someone who once fought for you suddenly stops speaking, stops reacting, and stops explaining, that's not peace, that's preparation for your lesson. That's why you should never hurt a Gemini. Their silence is not forgiveness, it's a boundary. And when the universe sees them choosing their peace over your chaos, it aligns everything to protect them and correct you. Reason 3, they won't scream, they'll answer with irony. And it'll cut deeper. Geminis don't need to raise their voice to make you feel small. When you hurt them, they won't explode. They'll respond with a kind of intelligence that stings more than any shout ever could. Their irony is sharp. Their sarcasm is precise. It's not about being petty, it's about showing you the mirror. And that mirror reflects your own actions in a way you didn't expect. You'll hear their words. And you'll realize they're not reacting, they're dissecting. Calmly. Eloquently. And it will haunt you. Because you'll realize they're not trying to win an argument, they're trying to teach you a lesson. Karma doesn't always come in thunder. Sometimes. It comes wrapped in the cold clarity of a Gemini's response. That's why you should never hurt a Gemini. They won't humiliate you. But they'll make sure you understand exactly where you failed. And that understanding? It sticks. It replays. It leaves you thinking long after the conversation ends. Because Gemini doesn't break you, they let your own actions do that with words that echo louder than any scream ever could. Reason 2, they might seem like they've let you go. But they're just showing you what losing them looks like. When a Gemini walks away, it's rarely loud. No drama. No chaos. Just space. They won't beg you to stay. They won't ask you to explain. They'll simply remove their energy and let you feel the difference. And that's the cruelest truth of all. You won't realize how much they gave until it's gone. You'll scroll through old messages, remembering how they once lit up your world. But Gemini won't look back. Once they've decided you don't value their presence, they stop offering it. Karma uses that distance as a lesson. You'll feel emptier, lonelier, not because they hate you, but because you once had something real and lost it through your own choices. That's why you should never hurt a Gemini. They don't need revenge. They are the consequence. Their absence teaches what their presence once healed. And when they no longer care, the universe ensures that you finally do. It doesn't scream, it just makes you remember the silence they left behind. And how full life felt when they were still around. Reason 1, when Gemini truly leaves, there's no turning back. Some people pretend to leave. They distance themselves but still hope for a return. Not Gemini. When a Gemini truly walks away, it's final. No second chances. No emotional loopholes. They give all they have, multiple chances. Understanding, patience, and love. But once they're done, they're done. And the scariest part? You won't see it coming. Because they won't announce their exit. They'll just detach completely, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And when they disappear from your life, they take the light with them. That's when karma begins its work. Because letting go of someone who gave you everything and expecting no consequences is a mistake the universe won't let slide. You'll miss them at random moments. Hear their laugh in a song. Remember their words during your hardest days. But they won't be there anymore. That's why hurting a Gemini is so dangerous. You might think they'll come back. But when they truly walk away, even time knows not to turn them around. Karma will keep reminding you, some exits are permanent. And some souls you never get back. Conclusion. Geminis are powerful, emotional, and intelligent beings who are often underestimated by those who hurt them. They don't seek revenge. But they don't forget. Karma has a way of balancing the universe, ensuring that those who wrong a Gemini will eventually feel the consequences of their actions. So, the next time you're dealing with a Gemini, remember, karma's eyes are always on the ones who hurt them. Treat them with respect, because they may not react right away. But when the universe steps in, you'll understand exactly what it means to cross a Gemini.